Welcome to Coming Out the Closet as a Coach Challenge. Today is day one, and it's all about assuming the identity. I am extremely excited to be offering this training because it's exactly what I wish someone would have told me was most important when I got started. It would have saved me so much trouble. I was just telling the ladies that are on with me here today that this is going to be fun. I was challenged to only do it if it was fun. So I'm channeling my inner Cardi B, and we are going to get very real and raw and have a very good time. So let's get started. All right, let's make this a little smaller. Okay, so you are in the right place if you are a brand new coach, right? Whether if you are in certification, just got certified, not certified, this is perfect for you. Don't worry, you're going to get exactly what you need to get out there and get started. Some of you that are watching this maybe even have a few paying clients, right? Some of my clients that are watching it, they have paying clients. I told them, come on, this is still going to be super valuable because you're going to understand how to get even more people reaching out to you. And this is also for you if you've been out as a coach for a few years, but you're struggling to get more people to know about your business and to see you as a coach. A lot of times they're maybe still associating you with what you do for your other kind of work, what actually brings in the money. So this is for you as well. Let's dive. Oh, actually, let's go back. And whether you're watching live or on replay, I would love if you would tell me in the chat box or unmute yourself and tell me exactly which one you are. Are you number 1, 2, or 3? If you are watching the Facebook, go ahead and put 1, 2, or 3 in the comments. And if you're on with me live, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and share what you're hoping to gain, as well as where you're falling on the spectrum today.
I can go first.
Yeah.
So I would say I am number 2 and a little bit maybe number 3. Not, yeah, it depends what I want to get visible into. But yeah, so I would say number 2, and I'm hoping that I keep getting more clients from now on.
Yeah, love that. Karen, which one do you fall into? How long have you been coaching?
So I'm kind of between 1 and 2. I do have a few paying clients, and I coach internally, and I have a fair number of internal clients. And I'll be in certification starting in the fall. So I'm kind of between those two.
Great. Either way, certified, not certified, this is going to work. If you have a few paying clients, this is still going to work, right? So I'm really excited to dive in. Let's talk about who I am and where I came from. I always say I am a former educator turned life coach. I was everything from a teacher to an assistant principal to a curriculum writer to training and developing teachers. And then ultimately even started my own educational consulting company. That was very fun, actually, in the sense of like being able to work for myself. But part of me knew that it wasn't right. Like, even though I had the luxury of working from home and I really loved that part of it, it wasn't what I was supposed to be doing because I knew I wanted independence as far as like where I could live and do my work. I knew I wasn't going to be staying in the school system because I was like, I'm going to be a mom and I can't give all this time and energy to this place that's not even paying me enough to be able to have the lifestyle that I want. So in 2016, I actually was still assistant principal, overworked, stressed the hell out, breaking out in hives sometimes, dealing with very disrespectful students and their challenging parents. I hired my own first coach to figure out what I wanted to be doing. And I described the vision of what I knew I wanted, right? I said, I had this vision and I've been sitting on it for a year and this is what I think it should be. And my coach said, you want to be a coach? And I was like, no. I don't want to listen to people's problems all day like you do. That is not my jam. I want to help them achieve their goals. I want to help them step into their power and do the things that they want to do. And she was like, yep, that's coaching. Finally, in 2017, I was like, she's right. I want to be a coach. That year I started a meetup group. Then after a year of doing that, I moved it into a Facebook group. And I was like, oh my God, I still haven't had any clients. Like, I came out and said, I told people I was trying to do this in 2017. Here we are, 2018, I still don't have any clients. And I realized like there was a gap between me saying that I was a coach to a few people and the amount of people and energy with which I had to say it if I was actually to sign clients. And I was like, oh, it must be because I'm not certified. Let me go get certified and then I'll feel more confident in telling people that I'm a coach. So I go get certified. I shut down the consulting company that I was doing. And I go back into the school system at this point because I'm like, I need a steady job while I build up the coaching company, which is the one that I really care about having. Finally, 2019, another year goes by and I'm still trying to like break through those things. And I finally get my first few paying clients. And that year, I kid you not, you guys can go back into the Facebook group and look at the video from 2019 when I went on and I said, I am quitting my job and I am going to go travel in 2020. That is the plan. I had just signed my first paying clients, literally made less than $2,000. And here I was so confident that now I figured out what needed to happen that I'd be able to quit my job the following year. 2020 came, and as you know, the pandemic hit, so my travel plans were put on hold. But that year I did come out in a big way. I started talking about my coaching. I believed truly that this was going to be the path. And I made some major changes that I'll be telling you about to really step into believing like, yes, coaching is the main thing for me. That same year, I was recognized as a top rated coach on one of the coaching directories, the top coaching directories of the world. And I did fill out my practice. And September of 2020, when my job asked me to go back in person, I said, no, my business is doing so well that I will not continue to work here. I'm going to go do what I know I'm supposed to be doing, which is coaching. So I quit my job and I went full time. So I want you to notice the timeline of 2016 to 2019 struggling. Into 2020, things happening that quickly once I was able to really break through and come out in the way that I'm going to teach you over these next few days. So now I'm a life and business coach to new coaches. I help my clients break into the coaching industry by teaching them to own their unique gifts, their unique style of coaching, and find a way to market their services that makes sense, right? So super exciting. All right. Over the next 5 days, this is what we're going to do to help you come out the closet and start like taking that time frame that took me like 3 or 4 years to actually taking it to only 5 days. Day 1, today we're talking about the most important thing. Most important thing is assuming the identity, embodying coach energy in your current spaces. Even before you are a fully booked coach, we're going to talk about how you show up to create that kind of result right now where you are. Day 2, tomorrow, we're going to be coming out quietly. There's subtle changes that we communicate without even words that we're coaches. And I'm going to teach you exactly what those are. Day 3, we're going to talk about the things you want to stop spending your time on that are not working and the things you should be spending your time on, right? Ways to maximize your efforts so that you do become more visible and attract more people to your coaching services. And day 4 is when we're going to make the big announcement, right? You're going to have a task that's going to help you get out there in front of more people. And I've actually invited a few of my clients to join us in that as well, so that they can share their stories of how they came out, how it's working for them. And day 5, we're going to talk about what happens beyond coming out, right? What you need to continue doing to create that sustainable coaching practice that gives you the time, the financial freedom that you want. Okay. All right. Let's dive in. Before we do that, what are you most excited to learn about? Go ahead and you can tell me or put it in. I actually can't see the chat box, so it's probably best if you just tell me. If you are watching on replay, go ahead and say which day you're most excited about. Is it assuming the identity, coming out quietly, what to stop or start doing, or the big announcement? Or what happens after you come out, right? Like maybe some of you thought you came out and you're like, okay, but what now? So you can go ahead and tell me in the comments in the Facebook group, or the people that are on right now, you can unmute yourselves and tell me now. That would be great.
I think I'm most excited about what to stop and start doing.
Yeah. Right. If you're spending a lot of hours, putting in a lot of hours in your business and you're like, but I don't have the results, something's not right, right? There's a gap of what you've actually been doing and what actually creates results. Awesome. Thank you so much. Julie, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Isaiah, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, so fun. Okay. Anybody else want to share what they're excited to learn about during the course of the 5 days?
Jen, I would also say what to stop and start doing, and perhaps even the last one. I'm out, now what?
Yeah, right. Because you think you've been out, you've been putting stuff out. I've seen you on social, right? So you want to talk about what's actually going to make people tip over from like, okay, just I'm putting the stuff out there to actually getting them to reach out to you for those calls, right? So that they can
Yeah.
become your clients. Because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, we can only truly help them once they are our clients and walk them through that coaching journey. All right,
Yeah,
let's keep
and it's more
going.
of in the I am out now what I think I would say it's more of having that sustainable coaching business. That's the
Yeah,
most important one.
I love that. Okay, so let's dive into today's teaching, which is assuming the identity. Y'all, I want you to, I want to look at you guys when I talk about this one, because this was the true game changer. And while it started many years ago for me, it's something that I continue to step into, right? I'm constantly stepping into that next level of owning that this is who I am. I am a coach that truly transforms people's lives. And I want you to know it happens within you. It happens even before you go and communicate with someone else. Even before you have the paying clients, you truly have to believe that you are a coach that is capable of helping someone, because that is what leads you to actually go out and do the work of helping someone when you believe it, right? It's an internal way of being, and then it comes out as an outward expression. Um, and then there's two ways, right? There's the internal in you, and then the external of what other people see. And we're going to dive into both of them. When you are talking about you believing it, I know you guys are familiar with this phrase, imposter syndrome. Yeah. You're like, yeah, I'm telling people I'm a coach, but part of me is not truly believing I'm a coach. Because what are you guys doing, or what were you doing before you became coaches? That is deeply ingrained in you, right? Whether it was years of being a scientist, you studied to become a scientist, you went and got these jobs, you were working in a lab, right? You have that identity. For me, I started working at the age of 15. At 15, I was working in after school programs, working with young children. So that identity of being an educator, that was deep. There was no way you could tell me that I wasn't an educator. At 27, I was an assistant principal. I was training and appraising people twice my age, and I didn't doubt my abilities. I knew I had value to offer there. Come to coaching, that's a whole different sphere. I'm like, oh, well, I got certified. They told me I was capable of doing this, but I haven't really done it, right? And I want you to think about, you've likely spent 40 hours a week for however many years doing what you've been doing. So that identity is deeply rooted and cemented. So the first thing we need to do is help you to understand that you are a coach and that you are capable of helping people right now, right? Some of you on the call, I'd love to hear, what do you do right now while you're building your coaching practice? Because I don't think many of us are, some of us are not full-time in our coaching practices. Isaiah or Julie, if you guys can mute yourself and share what you do, I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, hey, just jumping in, joining late, but
Hey,
I'm currently a mathematician for the Department of Defense. So I've been doing that.
I-
It'll be 5 years this July.
yeah. I mean, like, y'all are really smart, by the way. I mean, I have mathematicians, I have scientists. I'm excited. But like, I just want you to understand the level of education that you had to go through to be able to land something like this, and the many years that you've been doing it. That identity is well cemented. And now we have to build up the identity of you being a coach. Fortunately, I have some ways to help you do that. Okay. Oh, before we move on, I really make people do this, and I want you to do it. If you have a paper next to you, if you have a Word document, I want you to sit and do this, okay? I used to host these meetup groups, and I used to ask them to list 25 things that they've already accomplished, right? Because I wanted them to see that their goal, that the next goal was built on a pile of successes. And I want you to build on your pile of successes right now as a coach. I want you to answer for yourself in as many ways that you can think of how you are already qualified as a coach. I'll give you some ideas as you're writing, but try to take your brain to the place where you list as many as you can think of. I'll list some, I'll speak them. And if they resonate with you, the ones that I'm sharing, go ahead and add them to your list. But I really want you to challenge your brain to think of 25. I'm going to ask each of you to share one. Okay. Maybe you're certified like me. I went and I got that certification. So that was one thing that let me know that I was truly a coach, right? Maybe you are a great listener. That is something that coaches do. Maybe you're that person that friends and family always go to when they have a problem. That is evidence as to you being capable of helping people and being a coach. Maybe there's a personal experience that you had that you overcame that you feel like you can help somebody else with. That is also evidence that supports you being a coach, right? Come up with as many as you can think of that show how you've been a coach already in your life, right? Maybe you read a book, right, on coaching. Maybe you were in a coaching program and you observed quality coaching. Go ahead and think of as many as you can as evidence that proves that you are capable of helping someone as a coach. I don't care how small you might think it might be, I want you to add it to the list. And then when you're ready, go ahead and unmute yourself and share just one thing that qualifies you as a coach right now. You guys, one more minute. I know you're not going to be able to list all 25 during this time, but it's something that I really want you to sit with and cement and take your brain to that place of always reminding it that, yeah, I can do this. I've helped this person. I mean, prior to me being a coach, I was someone that my cousins would come to. Like one cousin in particular would always come to me for support. I'm like, yeah, I've really helped her over the years. I can help other people in this way. What is that for you? Amrita?
For me, it's mainly if I set my target as to I want to do something, then I make sure that I do it and I mend my habits and I change my routine so that I get to the place that I want to achieve. So I feel that because I can do it, I'm able to help other people achieve what they want to achieve too, because that's exactly what I'm doing now, which is habit and health coach. So I help people build the right habits to take the right actions so that they can get to their goals. So I've been doing it for all these years. So I could definitely write that in my list that I've been doing it. So I'm good at it. I can help
Your
you too.
life is an example. That is so perfect. So many coaches use that in their coaching. Like, honestly, that is beautiful. For those of you that aren't certified, I want you to know that alone will qualify you. It's something that you've done, you've gotten yourself results with. You can go and help other people. Love that. Karen?
I've been through the full training classes at CTI, so I think that that's maybe like a good on paper qualification as well.
Yeah, it is. Remind your brain, I'm trained, I'm qualified. I can go out there. They gave me the stamp of approval. I had to tell myself, they gave me the stamp of approval. They said I could do this. Right? Awesome. Julie,
I'd say I got my first paying client.
that is amazing, right? That is the best evidence. Someone is actually paying me to coach them. How am I not a coach? Someone gave me money to do this work. Yes, I love it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Safa? I know sometimes your internet, I think it's the same Safa, possibly. If you have steady enough internet, go ahead and you can unmute yourself and share. I'll give you a few seconds to see. They're not in North America. So, okay. Isaiah, go ahead.
Yeah, with my coaching, I've helped a family member save thousands of dollars. And yeah, it was just really encouraging to know that my family was helped and they definitely support my business.
Yes. Like that you were able to help them in that way. That is amazing. I love that. You helped them save thousands of dollars. Obviously, you have proof that your coaching works, right? As a financial coach, your methods worked for them. That is wonderful. Love that so much. If at any point you guys have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. Once I stop sharing my screen, I will definitely go back and answer all of those questions in case it was something else that I spoke about in the beginning or something that you're wondering. I want to make sure that we get those later on. Okay. So I spoke about there's two ways of doing this. One is assuming the identity internally. It must start with you. I want you to think about if you were a fully booked coach, right? What habits would you have? Are there things you would stop or start doing, right? Let me give you some idea. Oh, I like this view. Let me give you some ideas, right? Maybe is it journaling in the morning? Is it listening to podcasts? Is it meditating, right? Before I even became like a paid coach, I was like, what is this version of Jen that is that? How am I moving myself closer to being more like her? Is it waking up at a certain time, right? Think of all those activities that you're doing right now, or is it something that you would stop doing? Is it Coach Jen or Coach Julie or Coach Karen or Isaiah? They don't spend time scrolling on social like this as much as I do, or they don't watch as much TV as I do. They read, right? Whatever that may be, thinking of those habits that your next level version of yourself is doing. Here's another thing, physical changes. Your physical environment. Is it conducive to what you're saying you're moving towards? I distinctly remember, I told you guys I made that announcement in 2019 about traveling. This was also after I had already sold my house because I had a really nice big house in the suburbs of Houston. And I was like, no, but Coach Jen, she travels, she lives abroad. Or if she's here, she's in some high-rise apartment. Like, I'm willing to sell this house, invest in my business right now for what I know it's going to be later. Like that level of commitment. And I want you to ask yourself, how committed are you? And how are you living into that now? What changes in your environment when you're thinking of being a coach, you showing up as a coach? I moved and downsized into this tiny 1-bedroom apartment. I had 2,500 square feet, and I think I went down to like 700 max. It was 700. And I had my dining table. That was my desk area. It was my office area. So it had my laptop stayed there. I had my little office supplies nearby. Like that was where I was conducting my business, right? Also your appearance, right? Think of the way that you're showing up and you're dressed. I also have a funny, interesting story about that too. Remember 2019, I made that announcement that after I had signed my first 2 clients, I was like, I'm quitting my job. I had decided I am not buying any clothes that's appropriate for the schools that I was visiting at the time. I was going into schools and training and developing teachers. And I was like, I'm buying crop tops. I'm buying tights. I'm buying fancy outfits, right? That was one way that I would reward myself after I signed a client. I would buy myself an outfit from one of my favorite stores, BCBG. I was like, yeah, congratulations, Coach Jen outfit, because I was like, this is how she shows up. This is how she dresses. And I wore the same worn out shoes all year because I was like, I refuse to buy school appropriate shoes because this is not going to be my life after this year. Like I had already decided. And then think about mentally, how are you thinking when you're thinking of yourself as a coach? Are you talking and seeing possibilities for yourself and others? Do you believe in what's possible? Because as coaches, that's our job. We help people believe in what's possible for them. Are you doing that for yourself? Are you talking to yourself in a positive way? Or are you constantly being negative to yourself and about what you're saying you want? Again, all of this begins with you. This is before you speak to anybody. Because you are your first and best client. I love how Amrita was like, yeah, I did this in my life. Like I'm disciplined in this way. I have these habits. So of course I can go and help somebody. That makes you feel like you're in integrity with what you're offering. When you are an actual living proof of that. When I talk about possibilities, even then, before I had like a lot of clients, I could talk about and confidently say, yeah, how dedicated are you? Because I knew how dedicated I was to creating what I wanted. So I could hold that conversation perfectly fine when someone's like struggling to talk about like, oh, I don't know if I should invest in this or invest in that. I'm like, I sold my freaking house for this business. But now years later, this is the life I have because of it, because I was willing to believe in what was possible for me. Do you talk to yourself in that way? Do you talk about what's possible for you in that way? In the comments, for those that are watching the replay, I would love to know, who are you as a coach? I want you to share one thing that the fully booked version of you does differently, whether it be in the habits, whether it's a physical change, a mental shift, and you guys get to tell me live. So I'll give you a second to think about what is it that I need to stop or start doing? What's a physical change or in my environment or in my appearance that would be different from what it is now to when I'm a coach, or what's a mental shift that needs to happen for me. When you're ready to share, you can just unmute yourself. I'll just let whoever wants to share. But I'm going to make at least two of you share. So you guys can unmute yourself and share when you're ready.
I think I'm finding this one a little bit challenging. Like I can think of like small specific things, but then when I think about kind of the larger, I mean, for me, I'm not necessarily looking to quit my job, but rather to sort of take on maybe a different role within my organization and kind of add on a side business. So I don't quite know what that looks like. I mean, I wonder if that's part of what the next couple of days will help me envision, but yeah.
When you think of you having that side business, right? Like you love your job, you like what you're doing, but you're making space for this side business. When you picture yourself there, even if it's not clear what that side business exactly looks like right now, what's different about how you're spending your time?
I think I'm spending less time on my email and trying to respond to and prioritize other people's wants.
That version of Karen knows how to do that. How did that Karen do it?
By having like really clear priorities. What are the things that I can contribute to, and what are things that I don't need to think about or use my brain for.
And if you're thinking day to day, what does that look like in action?
I think maybe it would be like actually checking my email less, like maybe even closing that email window and just opening it a couple of times during the day when I'm actually going to respond to email, not just to look at it.
Right? There would be time blocks, like 2 times
Yeah.
a day. This is the time blocks where I check emails. That is something that you can start doing right now.
I was just thinking I could put that on my calendar like for tomorrow.
Can you do that right now?
Yeah, I will.
Love it. Love that. Exactly. That's what we're talking about when we're thinking of us stepping into this and assuming the identity of knowing like, hey, this is what's happening. This is what's coming. This version of me is this way. What can I start pulling right now into my life to step into being more of that version of me? Yeah. Anyone else? Listen, I
For
told you
me,
I'm an educator. I will cold call on people. Like,
I feel like I
thank
was
you,
about to get
Isaiah.
called.
Go
That's
ahead.
why I was like, let me jump in. For me, it's the just having a dedicated physical space where I do any work related to coaching. Because sometimes if I commingle with where because I work from home and working from the same room or office, sometimes it makes it hard to focus or I'm jumping back and forth. So I think just continuously creating that dedicated space would help me out a lot.
I love that. Like, think about what that space feels like, right? How does it feel and look different than the space of the mathematician? Does anything come to mind when I say that?
Um, yeah, I would say like making a more relaxed environment that's not as that helps me mentally transition from the mathematician work.
Like immediately when you said that, I thought of one of my clients, Alexander, who's also a musician, and we talked about creating a space that was reflective of that. So he brought in his musical instruments. So when you see him on camera, you see all his musical instruments in the background, and it's just a reflection of him. He added lights. So if it's a relaxing space, I immediately thought of like, oh, are there plants? Are you by a window? Right? Like, how is that feeling different than when you're like crunching just the numbers? knowing that this is a space where you're bringing people in to talk about these huge goals of theirs, their financial dreams, and helping them outline how they're going to achieve those things.
Right, makes sense.
Love that so much. Thank you guys so much for sharing. Did anybody else want to share before we move on? Okay. All right. So we talked about assuming the identity internally, but then there's things that we do out there in the world that help people recognize us as coaches. And when I say recognize us as coaches, I don't mean necessarily shouting out that we're a coach. Not yet, right? There's just a way of being, a presence that you have around others that people feel. They feel different around you. And this is how you do it. As coaches, we listen deeply. I want you to think of any conversation that you've had, and I want you to you're going to be very aware of this after you leave today, that when we have conversations with people, they say something or will say something, and then they will respond and make it about them. They'll be like, oh yeah, because when I did that, or one time when that's how we relate to each other in the world. And it's not saying that it's wrong. It's just the normal way that we've been trained to be. So it's very different in a coaching conversation when you're with someone and it's all about the person that you're talking to, right? When I'm in coach mode, it's all about the client that's on the other end, right? Sometimes they're like, oh my God, I didn't know that about you. Yeah, because we're not sitting here talking about me. It's all about them. I give them all of my focus and attention, right? So are you listening deeply? Are you actively listening when someone speaks with that intent to try to understand them, to show that you're following along with what they're saying? I don't care what they're talking about, right? Are you being that present with them and allowing it to be about them? Are you asking questions? Like my whole job is honestly to ask people questions as a coach. That is your job too. You ask people questions all day long. Those of us that are more of a mentor mode, like Isaiah and like myself, when we're mentoring people to kind of do certain tasks, there might be a more teaching component, but it's truly about asking questions about what they want in any type of coaching and being curious, right? Asking high quality questions. Are you asking high quality questions when you're around people? Are you being curious about them? Are you engaged? Yeah. And then it goes back to the same thing that we said, you have to believe hard about yourself and possibility. You have to believe hard about other people. Most people, and maybe you personally experienced this when you were telling them that you were starting a coaching practice, they weren't the most supportive. And not because they don't love you or care about you, but because they have reservations about entrepreneurship, because they are used to the traditional 9 to 5 as a sense of security, right? And the idea of starting a business might seem scary. Are you talking to people in a place of believing in what they want? Right? Or are you saying, well, probably not going to become a singer? I don't know. Most people don't become singers, right? I want you to be aware of that because as a coach, you believe hard in what your clients want and you help them achieve it. Are you showing up like that in other places in the world? And this is not saying that you are doing this and then you're throwing in, I'm a coach. No, you don't even have to do that. Just literally being present with someone and listening deeply will shift how they see you. It will create a sense of comfort in them. You asking them questions will be like a mind breakthrough for them. Like, oh my God, no one's ever asked me that, right? And you showing support for what they're saying that they want it feels so lovely for someone to have that with you that you become memorable to them without ever even having to say that I'm a coach. These are lifelong skills that you will use in developing stronger connections with people. But as a coach, this is all we do. Listen deeply, ask questions, and believe hard. Every type of coaching, right? I want you to think about how can I show up and do these things right now? Whether at work, whether at the gym, whether with my partner, whether with a friend that I'm talking to, showing up and practicing these skills. That's what's required for them to have a shift and be like, there's something special about this person. I don't know. I felt really good talking to this person. Because that, again, feeds into your belief of, oh, I'm capable of helping people as a coach, right? Even before anybody pays you, even before you even say you're a coach, you're believing a little harder in that you have the ability to help somebody. And that's what we're doing. You have to assume the identity first, because if not, every time you open your mouth to say that you're a coach, it's laced with some level of doubt. It's laced with some level of imposter syndrome, right? And I'm not saying you can't sign clients with that. You could definitely sign clients with that. My clients sign clients having a lot of those still fears present, and we still have time to work through them, right? But I'm saying it just comes off cleaner. It comes off more powerful when you're truly believing it first, that it starts with you. Okay. So this week, your assignment is to pick one task that will help you step into assuming the identity, right? You're going to commit to one internal and one external activity to practice showing up as a coach over the next 24 hours. Whether that's a habit that you want to start or stop. And let me preface this. Habits are not something that we're just going to do this one time. I want you to think of this as something that will be sustainable, that you want to do over and over again, so that it strengthens your belief. I also want you to finish your list of 25 reasons of why you're qualified. Like that, train your brain to go there, because the brain is very well versed in I'm a this or I'm a that, or I've always done this. Coaching's new. It's okay. It can be new, but we're going to keep on reminding our brain that we are ready. We are coaches and we're ready to help people. We're capable of doing that. Questions, comments, concerns about any of that thus far? Okay. We're going to open it up to open coaching, but before we do, I want to remind you of a few things. If you are watching this in the Facebook group, the only way that you can join live is by actually signing up to be a part of the challenge to get the Zoom link for the live calls. So make sure that you sign up, that you can get that Zoom link so you can be a part of the live calls. Attend the calls live because it's an opportunity to get coached and ask questions about what I taught that day or previous days, as well as what's going on specifically in your business right now. And the only way that you will get the transformation is by actually doing the daily assignments. It's not enough just to watch this, but you have to actually go out there and do the work and put it into action. That's how you get that transformation, my friends. Okay. All right, time to coach. Let's open it up. You can unmute yourselves if you're ready, you want some coaching. If you are watching the replay, you can definitely post questions that came up watching this in the comment section and do hashtag coaching. That's how I will see it and I will be able to respond. Okay. Ready for coaching? Bring me what you got. Let's go. No questions, no comments, no concerns. Everybody's clear on what they need to go out in the world and do. Karen, you're laughing? And Rita, you're laughing? Okay, I need y'all to speak to me. Tell me what's going on.
Well, I'm looking ahead. So the next couple of sorry, I'm not being very articulate. I'm kind of looking ahead to the next few months. And one of the ways that I get clients internally is that I do workshops. So group coaching, which is something I know that there's a lot of advice about not doing that as a new coach, but that's kind of been my role at this as a faculty fellow at my institution, is that I have group workshops that I've led for many years around different kinds of things. And now they're coaching. They're about whole person coaching for academics rather than a particular topic.
So what's the problem?
That I might have done in the past. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It sounds like you're comfortable with group coaching model, that you have experience doing group coaching. What is the concern?
The concern is that I'm putting together a 6-month program internally that's going to start in August, and I'm doing like a little taste of it, a workshop that's open to everybody as a way of trying to get people interested. And I guess I'm just a little bit nervous about that. It just feels kind of high stakes.
Why is it high stakes?
Because I think it's a really great program and I want people to be part of it.
And you're saying you're doing it internally?
Yeah, so this is all internal for my institution, this programming.
Yeah. Is there a possibility that they won't move forward with it if it doesn't go well?
No, I would just do something else.
Right? I do want to address the fact that you said most people say don't do group coaching in the beginning. There are several reasons. One, you want to get your hours in the comfort of the one-to-one relationship, because it can be a little nerve-wracking when you have 10 people staring at you and you're still working through your coaching abilities. Two, it is much harder to sell out 10 spots than it is one at a time, right? And people underestimate the amount of effort that they need to put out in their marketing to fulfill those spots. But from what I'm hearing in your situation, you are doing it internally. You have the people, you have the position. You created something that you're very proud of. And now it's time to go out there and serve people with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's okay to feel nervous. Let's not act like this is your baby. You created it. You're proud of it, right? Like the nerves can be there, but what do you want to think about as you're delivering this?
Yeah, I mean, I think I want to kind of focus on my belief that this is going to make people's lives better. I really think that, I see a lot of suffering and kind of like a lot of needless suffering in my field, which is, generally seen to be very privileged, and we are really privileged in what we can do. We get to study what we love to do, but there's so much pain that people end up putting on experiencing from pressures that they put on themselves, and just really focusing on how, like, I think that I can help with that might be the way to think about it.
Yeah, I love that. So if you help one person with that, would it be worth it?
Yes, absolutely.
So as you go into it, think of one person is going to be helped by this for sure.
And for some reason that really does make it seem a little lower stakes. Or I just feel better about it with that one person in mind.
Yeah. I tell myself all the time, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this. One person might show up, but we're going to do it. It's going to be amazing for that one person who gets it. And that's worth it to me. So, yeah.
Thank you. That's
You're
helpful.
welcome. You're welcome. Put it in a post-it. One person's going to be helped by this, at least one person for sure. You can definitely deliver on that. All right. Anybody else? Questions, comments, concerns? Any questions that came up around how to assume the identity? How to do it in internally or external ways?
Jen, I don't know if it's a coaching question, but my question would be, so I would like to say that I internally and externally, like, I'm good. Like, I assume the identity and I'm doing everything right. For that person, what's the next step?
Yeah, great question, because you are full-time in your business in the sense of there's nothing else taking up your time and energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
How can you show up to more conversations in that coach energy? How are you feeling when you say that you're a coach? How would you describe that feeling when you tell somebody?
I'm confident. I feel good
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
Mhm. How do you feel about your coaching skills?
I feel good about that too.
Okay. So then if you're thinking about where the gap is between where you feel you are in your business and what other people know of your business, what would you say that is? What's the reason that people haven't been reaching out?
I don't know. Maybe it's a gap in my marketing or the messaging that I'm putting out there. I don't know.
What are you believing about them right now when you're putting out messaging?
I don't believe anything wrong or bad. I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I would say I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And I think I'm doing it okay.
Yeah. But what do you think is the gap for the person that's receiving the message? Like, what is it that they haven't heard or seen that would make them tip over and say, I need this help?
I don't know exactly. Maybe I'm not reaching the right people.
here's the thing. I want you to not make it about like them and really go inward and really question,
Okay.
what haven't I said? What haven't I tried? What haven't I done? Because whenever it is about them, it's always going to be, we need different people.
Yeah.
It's always going to be like they need to change versus what you can actually control.
Yeah. So I could try different things. I just haven't tried everything. I just need to keep trying different things.
What haven't you tried?
I don't know. I haven't. There are so many different things that, like I have a list of things that I have to try to, like get more people.
Tell me.
But I've been only trying like a few of them because I just have the capacity to try a few of them. So I just recently started like hosting events and things on meetups, right? So that's one thing that I'm trying. But I just started trying that. So I need to give it some time before I can jump into something else. Like, I don't know, like collaborations and going out and meeting like businesses and things like that.
Okay. First of all, you guys don't know I'm smiling because she just signed up to work with me. So I know what we're going to work on. And she's watch in just like a month, she's going to come back and be like, oh my God, this is what's working. We're going to get there. But right
Okay.
now, what I want you to think about is, where did your last people come from? Because you did sign paying clients.
Yeah. So my last people came from just like Instagram reels that I put up. So there was some reels that I talked about resilience and about, inculcating fun and recreation in your life, like your day-to-day life, like scheduling fun time. And there were just a few reels that I posted in December, which I got my like last client from because she just saw the reel and she messaged me. And then the other one came from another Instagram, Facebook post that I put like last year. And then I got, yeah, those were a few things. And then there are other people also who are like my acquaintances and my friends who are my clients, but I don't know where they came from. They probably because they just know me and they know that I'm a coach and then they signed up. But these are the two people that I can think of who are not my friends, are not my family, are not my acquaintances, just random people who just saw my reel and they liked my messaging and then they got in touch.
How many family and friends have signed up?
Like 4 or 5 of them, like over the year.
Notice how you have way more, like twice as many with the friends and family.
Sorry, I didn't
You
get
have
that.
twice as many people that signed up that were friends and family that knew you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you maximized that is one way that people find you?
No, I didn't think of it that way because I just feel like I don't want to have my family and friends all the time, feel like coaching them all the time or people I know.
Yeah, but you can have a rule where you don't coach those people. Like I now have a rule where I'm like, I'm not going to coach those people myself. In the beginning, I did. I'm like, I want all the coaching reps. Like, come on. Like, I
Yeah.
will definitely coach you. But are you maximizing the fact that they believe in your coaching? They experienced your coaching and they're a path for you to get more clients.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is with them, I would get like their testimonials. They're still with me, like they're still in the program. So I would get their testimonials and, with that, I could get the exposure to their work people, like their like colleagues and things like that. And maybe that would be like one way I could get more exposure.
Yeah. Yes. I want you to think of like every person that you've helped as an ambassador, but they don't know it until you tell them like, hey, I'm glad you got so much value out of it. Thank you for that beautiful testimonial. Do you know anyone else with a similar thing that you help them with, right? Or anybody else that could benefit from the coaching? That's a conversation.
Yeah.
And now they're like, actually, I know Mary. Mary might be good. Then you get to be like, okay, why do you think Mary might be good for this work? Would you mind connecting me with Mary?
Okay.
Right there. And the best people are the ones that already know your work. They already experience the power of your coaching. We all think
Yeah.
that we need to go out and like create these huge audiences. Like you guys, if you see my audiences on like Instagram, I have like 300 something. I don't have a huge audience. It's not how my business was built. It was not on that. I promise you, right? Like now it's working for me and it's doing some things, but in the beginning, my money did not come from social media, right? So I want you to think
Yeah.
of like, where are my people coming from? How can I maximize that? You said somebody found you on Reels. How many more Reels have you done?
I haven't done after that because I was traveling.
Yeah,
I'm planning to do it now though. I'm back.
you should definitely do Reels of traveling. I've done Reels of traveling.
Yeah, but I was just off social media when I was traveling. Like I not that I just like, just what do you call that, took off my app or anything, but I just didn't want to be on the
Yeah.
phone. Yeah, so I didn't do that, but I'm going to do them now.
Yeah, you have
That's the
pictures
plan.
from your trip. Yeah,
Yeah, I do.
Reels are working for you. Family and friends working for you. Go there. It doesn't
Yeah.
always have to be a new strategy, a new way of doing it. One of the things we're going to talk about on day 3.
Okay.
So good. All right. Anyone else? Questions, comments, concerns that came up?
Thank you,
Or
Jen.
coaching on, you're very welcome. Or coaching on your specific situation right now. Isaiah, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Yeah.
Yep. I guess one question that or one topic, how do you maintain like authenticity? I think that's one thing I'm concerned about, not coming off like gimmicky or anything like that, especially when dealing with friends and family or even people that they know. I just want to really maintain that authenticity. So as an example, like words like client make me feel uh, disconnected. So just wonder if you can speak on authenticity.
Tell me specifically. Can you give me a specific instance where you felt doing something would be gimmicky or inauthentic?
Hmm. Um, I mean, I think just generally reaching out to people who I know, saying, "Hey," um, just trying to start that conversation to get them to want to do it without feeling like I'm selling like a product or a
Right? We
service.
all have that image of the person that's in the MLM and they're just trying to get you to come to the meeting to sign you up for this thing,
Right.
right? That they just got on. And none of us like the idea of being that person. We didn't like the experience of that person, and none of us want to be that used car salesman. I want you to remember you're selling coaching, right? And coaching is not a product. Coaching is truly life changing. And goes back to like, it starts with you. I want you to think of what creating that result in your own life, because I'm sure that you've used your tools on yourself to create financial results. Yeah.
Yep.
What that has meant for you, what that has opened up and made possible for you. And then once you do it for you, think about your family that you've helped. What has that meant for them immediately, right? What immediate results did they get from this work? What long-term results will they get from this work? That's the
Mhm.
value of your coaching. And when you're thinking about that being the value of what somebody gets, of course you believe that somebody wants it. And from that place of believing that somebody wants it, the way you talk about it is different. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely that helps.
Okay. The way you talk about it comes from a place of, this is amazing. Like I talk about coaching because I'm like, yeah, this is life changing. Are you kidding me? This life that I'm living right now is freaking amazing. Like, of
Mhm.
course, I want other people to know about it. So, of course, I'm sharing. Now, there is a fine line. And I love that you asked this question. It's such a good question. We don't want to bombard our family and friends into like marketing for us in this like way of like every conversation that we have with them is about, hey, can you help me with, do you know some people? Can you send this out? Can you put this on your page? That doesn't feel good. And this is why today, day 1, we're talking about assuming the identity in a silent manner, just the way that you're showing up, just the way that you're listening and serving. Like, can you naturally just be in service when you're talking to someone without having to pitch them?
That's a good.
Is that possible?
Yeah, yeah, definitely trying to think of ways to, uh, I guess, try not to pitch, but just give them maybe feedback or valuable information that might help them to get them interested in the first place.
Well, you see, but this is the shift though. You see, to get them interested.
Mhm.
Right there, you have an agenda of where you want the conversation to go. Do you see
So
that?
how do you have an agendaless conversation?
Yeah, you just show up and you have a conversation. And if it so happens that there's something that you can help them with, you tell them how you can help them. Okay, we're having a conversation, and I happen to tell you that I'm looking into buying a new car. Right? What would you say?
One of the first things I would say is making sure it fits within their current budget or lifestyle that they're trying to achieve. So maybe asking them questions about that.
Would you start off with that
Um,
if you were just having a conversation?
no, no, I wouldn't. In my mind, I would jump there, but I'll start off and say, "Hey, that's cool. What kind of car are you looking to get?"
Exactly. Do you see the difference? In your brain,
Yeah,
you're like, well, what's your budget? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about how you're going to finance it? Right? That's you trying to coach them without permission.
right.
They didn't ask you all that yet. You could be like, oh, what kind of car are you trying to get? Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I like that car. Yeah, I've seen that. It goes for about this much, you know? Yeah. Or I've seen it in this color and I really like it. Or yeah, I have a friend who has that car, right? Like just a normal conversation. Or like, oh yeah, like I helped my such and such go car shopping, like a normal person versus the person that's trying to pitch their services.
Yeah, that's the part I need to work on. It's not because my mind is always running circles, but I need to just kind of relax and have a conversation. Sometimes it's not leading towards that.
Yeah. It can, right? But you're gonna let the natural progression of the conversation happen. You're not gonna
Mm,
force in the next line, hey, I can help you do that. Like I do XYZ. Just help them in that conversation.
true.
Have you thought about how you're gonna make that purchase? Right? Right? Have you thought about it? Oh, okay, cool, cool. I know a lot of people tend to take out loans for cars, and I know you can get a such and such rate right now if you go to XYZ place. See how I'm serving with that information and I'm not trying to get anything.
Hmm.
If they're interested, oh, how did you know that? Oh, I'm a financial coach. I help people with these kind of things. I want you to think of giving. I am serving people. It comes from a very different place. And I will host a masterclass at some point, probably next month. I'll host another masterclass to tell you exactly where you go when you're feeling like you want to get some more clients quickly, where you find those people that already want your services. And I'll even talk about it during the course of these days. But like if you're feeling like you want that injection of like people in your business right now, go where they are. Where are people already talking about these things where you can be of value and start serving? Where are they?
Right now,
Mhm.
probably online circles. I'm actually not sure where people
Kind
are.
of online circles.
Just ones where people are like asking questions about finances, or like teachers groups where teachers may be asking about 403b's or how to retire well as a teacher, stuff like that.
Yeah. Right? You can go to those spaces where they already want that information, where people have opted in because they want to learn more about your um, 403bs, retirement planning, savings, budgeting. right? There's places for that. It's not the casual conversation with someone saying, thinking about this car. It might lead to something like that, but you don't have to force it there. You can go to the other place where people want that from the beginning. Does that make
True.
sense?
Yeah, definitely helps out a lot. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Safa, you will have the link to the recording in the Facebook group where you can kind of catch anything that you might have missed. If your internet is steady enough, feel free to unmute yourself and ask any questions that came up for you. If not, it's okay, or you could put it in the chat and I'll see it and I can answer that question. Anybody else that was watching, if any further questions came up for you, you can go ahead and put it in the chat. Here's one thing I would love to hear. And I did ask this in the Facebook group that after you guys watch the recording, any aha moment, any breakthroughs, any takeaways, you put in the comments. But while we're on, you guys can tell me now if there was something that stood out to you, something that you're going to take away as like, oh, okay, I never thought about it like that. Like, oh, that really broke my brain in the best way possible. You can go ahead and say it because we are almost done here.
Well, definitely the last part that you just mentioned of like serving and not looking to get something from it. And then making those changes for like in the physical, mental, and I forgot the third one. But making those changes was definitely helpful.
Yeah. The habits, I think the habits. So yeah, love that. Love that so much. I'm so glad that was helpful.
For me, it's going to be the part that, I got those 2 clients from the Instagram Reels. So I need to probably keep working on that.
Right? Something so simple as like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, that worked. I should go back and do what worked.
Well,
Or,
yeah.
oh, yeah, family knows. Okay, I can ask them who else might be, benefit from this work. I'm so glad. I'm so glad because sometimes we try to find all the other things, right? Like, I'm gonna just try all the things. No, you don't have to try all the things. Just go back to what worked. Karen, anything?
Yeah, I just wanted to echo what Isaiah said about just kind of embodying right now the kinds of ways of being that I envision myself as a coach in just kind of an everyday way. It's really, really amazing.
Yeah, I love that. And you have the evidence of doing this work. You do it. Go out and do it with the content that you created that you want to teach these people, that you want to serve. And it's going to be transformational for at least one person. I'm pretty sure more, but at least one person's going to be like, damn, Karen was amazing. So glad she did this. So glad. Hey, I see someone just hopped on, but we are finished for today. There will be a recording posted within the Facebook group. I'm going to go as soon as we're done here, download this and post it for you guys. If you are watching the recording, again, remember to comment and tell me, do hashtag coaching if you want additional coaching. If you want to be coached live, you need to join the sign up for the actual training. Just sign up and you will get the Zoom link emailed so that you can be with us live. And I'm super excited about what we're talking about over the next few days. It's going to be so valuable. And again, unmute yourselves and get coached every single day. I'm going to have an opportunity for that, so that we talk about your specific business, where you are and what needs to happen for you to get to that next level. I hope you will join me. See you tomorrow. Bye, guys.